I feel like I don't need to spend too much time providing context for this one. If you follow my channel, you probably know who Greta Gerwig is. Indie acting icon turned indie directing icon, who impressed me with the excellent Lady Bird and even more with her follow-up Little Women, which, in my own words, made me want to make art and fall in love. Even with this being only her third solo directing job, she's already built up a hell of a legacy. And you definitely know what a Barbie is. One of the most iconic toys to ever exist. The doll. And definitely surrounded by a loaded discourse as well, but we'll get to that. This film was being hyped up the minute it was announced. I mean, Margot Robbie, Greta Gerwig, and Ryan Gosling? It was electrifying from the beginning, and the recent Barbenheimer memes only made it slightly more potent. Which, yes, Oppenheimer is coming too. In a lot of ways, this was my most anticipated movie of the year. Which feels weird, right? A corporate PG-rated toy commercial movie was this anticipated for me? The girl who makes videos on depressing foreign movies that make people think I'm a weirdo for enjoying them so much? But that's the power of Gerwig's hype in a way. We all kinda figured a project like this had to have more in the tank than just a toy commercial if it was coming from her. And sure enough, it did! I mean, imagine going back 10 years and telling someone that the biggest film of the year was going to be a Barbie movie written as a feminist satire by the team behind Frances Ha. Granted, I don't know how many people actually know what Frances Ha is, but you all really should. It's one of Bombach's best. I'm not sure if I've seen a movie involving this big of a brand be this genuinely haphazard with its identity. Like, this film swung for the fences on some of these jokes. Like, it does challenge the idea of the beauty standards and objectification representative in Barbie dolls. The idea that, well...
Look at these pictures. You can be whatever you want to be, as long as you're thin.
But it says way more than that. It's about how perfection is inherently unobtainable, and that there's beauty in change and the difficulties of being human. The power of self-consciousness. I mean, I've never seen a movie use the word patriarchy so much, and typically that word has been so used and abused incorrectly that idea sounds cringe-inducing. And yet, no, not to me at least. Gerwig clearly knows her shit and correctly addresses the often misunderstood concept through a well-done satirical approach, directly making fun of the fact it's not as simple as people think it is, even resulting in some of the best jokes.
No, I won't let you do just one appendectomy.
But I'm a man.
But not a doctor.
Can I talk to a doctor?
You are talking to a doctor.
And I need a clicky pen?
No.
A sharp thing?
No.
And that's the thing, while being a meaningful satire, it doesn't forget to be incredibly funny. I mean, considering this film started off as an Amy Schumer project where they wanted her to invent a high heel made out of jello, the fact I laughed this much is a testimony to how good the new crew behind this film was and how much they were able to turn this film around. I mean, it does help that Gerwig is an incredible writer and is joined by her fellow indie legend and partner, Noah Baumbach, who's, written some very good movies you might have heard of. Just a few. And it's clear that they knew that while there was opportunity to say as much as they did in a satire, they also wanted to make jokes beyond that, play on the unreality of it all. It starts off with a 2001 A Space Odyssey parody, for Christ's sake. Let's see a fucking Furby movie do that. They dropped a censored fuck even. I don't think Lego Movie got this bold with its tight-lipped brand, and Barbie might be even more protected. And this is helped by the performances. Margot Robbie is perfect in the role of Barbie, seemingly constantly playing into the comedic absurdity, but being able to pull it back for the more meaningful moments when the real message is slipped in. America Ferrera is surprisingly great as well, as she managed to add a good soul to the movie that makes you understand, even if like me you didn't grow up with Barbies, what the possibility of a doll as an outlet for yourself can mean. I gotta give a shout out to Hari Nef as well, not just because it's kind of awesome to see a trans woman as a Barbie, but also because she delivers several of the best lines of the movie. Issa Rae has some stone cold stunners as well, and of course, we gotta bring up Ryan Gosling. Listen, a lot has been made of Ryan Gosling's performance of Ken, including his own personal usage of the word Kenergy, and how fun it's been watching in the promotion. But let's be clear, all of that is present in the film. He was not lying. He is a perfect embodiment of Ken here. He is ridiculous, over the top and hilarious, embodying the simple moniker of no one buys a Ken without a Barbie to its core in a way that works so well. Reminds me a lot of how he handled his ridiculous character in Shane Black's The Nice Guys. While I love his dark, stoic, and subtle performances most, he is an incredibly naturally talented comedic performer. And his skill at oblivious, clueless idiots is one of his most potent attributes in this film. And while the movie may be named Barbie, his clueless desperation still stands out most, and I loved it. It's admittedly not perfect though. I mean, as much as I enjoy the songs made for this film, I do wish it didn't feel like there were so many crammed in. Like, I adored it when it worked. Lizzo creating an extremely literal opening that slowly degrades in quality over time is hilarious. And Charlie XCX rechanneling her vroom vroom energy into a hyper-pop car chase anthem is of course a blast. But occasionally it feels a bit like it's hitting you over the head with them a bit. And it would have been best to save some of them just for the album release, like Black Panther and Across the Spider-Verse did. Hell, to show their priorities, they didn't even release a regular score music soundtrack, which is strange because the parts of it I heard in the film weren't bad at all. Not to mention, I do think that sometimes it misses opportunities for more accurate critiques of consumerism with its Will Ferrell CEO character. Like, I get there are limitations when working with a company like Mattel, but you already kinda touched on it. Why not go a little bit more for the throat? And it did occasionally feel like it could have used more time to develop Barbie's connection to the real world a bit more. It was striking as is, but I feel like it was possible for it to hit much deeper. That having all been said, I couldn't help but love it. Striking visually with its practical Barbie land sets that played on a lot of great film tradition, and some incredible uses of montage and camera work, including the final emotional sequence of the film before its final joke, being a masterclass in how to present a scene like that. A wildly funny and well-acted farce and emotionally well done. And hell, I can't lie that I'm biased. As a trans woman who found strength in finding my own identity and my own womanhood and presentation, it's kind of amazing to find a movie that embraces femininity and yet feels so rebellious too. I like when my movies feel like they're authentic, even if brutally so. Hence why I tend to lean more towards a lot of dark, critical media. While a lot of films seen as traditional feminine media often feel to me like they're shallow pandering, often from male executives guesstimating what women like. But Barbie never feels like that. Despite literally being an ad for a toy, it feels like it came from a real place, that Gerwig put passion into this. Hell, it has a lot more of a unique voice and style than, like, any MCU movie. And not only is that cool for me to see as someone who typically presents feminine, but also, I think that can be enjoyed by anyone. Well, except for apparently the tons of people online which claim that it hates men, which, like, I'm sorry, but you all have the worst film comprehension skills I've seen in my entire life. You might not have noticed, but these are purposefully exaggerated, simple-minded characters in a literal plastic world. It's a satire. I pity you and all of your viewers. It's not perfect, nor is it even my favorite Gerwig film, but I'm glad it exists. Maybe the best toy commercial ever made. Greta Gerwig's Barbie gets an 8 out of 10.